Tracy, and today we're going to be talking about how to repackage the food that you get in the number 10 can. So today I'm going to show you how I do that and what is needed. If you're new to my channel, welcome to One Blessed Step. We're here to really help you live your best life with what you have in your hands today. And so some of the tips we share are financial, some of them are about saving money, some of them are about having fun and adventures and just enjoying life. So if that sounds good to you, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like more content like this, go ahead and give me a like. Hit the thumbs up. It's like a tip jar for me without actually giving me any money. So thank you so much in advance for that. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to need, obviously, some food. So I have some mushrooms that I purchased, and I love these, by the way. And I need to repackage this because when it comes to long-term food storage, especially if it's freeze-dried food, so this is freeze-dried, or if it's dehydrated, right? This is freeze-dried. And your freeze-dried food has like zero water and like a lot of volume in terms of space. So it's like, think of your freeze-dried food as like a sponge, like just wants to grab all the moisture in your air and rehydrate it and just be alive again. It wants to come from this dead kind of, dry space into something that's more moist, kind of like fresh. That's what it wants to do. So it's going to want to take whatever in your environment, any kind of humidity you have, any kind of water in your environment, and it's going to want to rehydrate itself. And so whenever you open a number 10 can or even a bag of dried or freeze-dried food, you need to go ahead and not just leave it in the number 10 can, because the number 10 can, once the seal is broken, you will have air. No matter what you do, it's gonna, even if you put the lid on tight, right, lid's gonna somehow get in here, and this is gonna start to hydrate. It's gonna start to, get moisture in it. And once moisture is inside of this can, then it's compromised. So the food in here could be compromised. It could be growing something in here that you don't want to have grow in here. So once you open one of these cans, you either need to use it or you need to store it in smaller containers. And so that's what we're doing today. We're going to store these in smaller containers. So you need your number 10 can of food that's already open. So mine's mushrooms today. And you're going to need a vacuum sealer. Now, I have a Food Saver vacuum sealer, which I love, but recently I purchased one off of Amazon, a generic one. This one's just called an electric mason jar sealer. It was like $15. I'll link it for you if you're interested. I like it. It's battery operated, so you don't have to lug out your Food Saver. That's one of the things I love, because I'm always on the move, right? And so I can just grab this, and sometimes I'm off grid. And I'm using, sometimes I'm off grid and I need to open up another can and I need to reseal it all, and I don't have my Food Saver with me. So then I have this small little, mason jar Food Saver vacuum sealer. So this is what I'm using. I really like it. It's got, just real quick, it's got buttons here that are on and off. And when you get it, mine was charged at like 70%. So I had to charge it to 100%. I've sealed a couple jars. Right now I'm down to 96% on the battery. So you're not going to be able to, do 100 jars, but you're going to be able to do, well, actually you're going to be able to do about 50. If you're losing 2% off of every charge, you're going to be able to do 50 without recharging it again-ish. Don't quote me on that. This is what I've noticed so far. So this vacuum sealer, once you press on, it does not have an auto off feature like your Food Saver one does. So you're going to have to wait till a little bit over 40 seconds and then hit the off button. And then you're going to check the seal to make sure it's sealed. So that's how this one works. For 15 bucks, it's a steal. So you get the wide mouth rim to seal with. You can tell that the seal is this way. So if your seal is pushed out, which I'm not going to push it out, but if it's not looking like this, actually that's a pretty good angle, right? This is ready to go, okay? But if it's like flopped out or anything like that, then it's not ready to go. So make sure that your seal looks good, okay? If you want to do, so this is going to be for your wide mouth mason jars. If you want to do your regular mouth mason jars, you're going to use its friend, right? Its friend that goes together. So you're just going to put it on the end. It actually comes like this, You're just going to screw it on there and lock it into place, like that. Actually, I think I had that off. There's a little, can you see it? See if I can show you here. It's like an unlock button. So just push it on the unlock button and then move it to the lock button here. All right, so now it's locked on there and ready to go. So that is how it's assembled for the regular mouth. For the wide mouth, again, just use it like this. Okay, for regular, you need the smaller size. You're gonna attach it to there like that. Okay, so that's how you use it. Well, that's how you assemble it. So you're gonna need some kind of vacuum sealer. Then you're gonna need a jar. So I have a ton of pint jars. Anytime anyone wants to give me pint jars, I'm like, yes, thank you. I use them all the time. Thank you so much. You're gonna need some lids. The lids I use for this activity are just the generic canning lids. These are called canning snap lids. You get them from the Dollar Tree. You get 10 of them for $1.25. They work well for me. I don't have a problem with them. If I'm actually going to can something like meat, I'm going to use a brand name lid like Kerr or Ball. Those are the ones that I'm using when I'm canning like meat. When it comes to stuff like freeze-dried foods, because I go through them and I rotate them so often, I will use a generic lid, and I really have never had one pop on me yet, so I'm not too concerned with it. But if you're concerned with it, use whatever brand you like. Okay, so today I'm just going to use the generic ones. So I have a bunch of them here. So these are the generic ones. Here are my Kerr lids. I save my expensive lids for food that I really, am kind of worried about or concerned about in case it, were to pop and open. Anytime food is stored in a container, I store mine with the lid on but no ring. That way, if the lid pops off, right, or pops up, I know it's unsealed and then I won't eat it. So be sure that if your lid pops up, right, don't eat the food that's in there because it might not be good. And you would rather not get sick, right? I don't want to get sick either. So make sure that the seal is intact. And I store all of my food in the pantry with the lid on, right? Obviously, because it's sealed, without the ring. So when I say rings, I'm talking about these, okay? I don't store food on my shelf with rings on them. And again, the reason why I don't do that is because if this seal were to become compromised like that, then if the ring's on it and the seal's compromised, right, we don't know that the food might be compromised as well, right? So you could open this up and then you think, you don't know whether, you pop the seal maybe and you hear that sound, maybe you think it's safe or not, but I'm not sure. I prefer to leave it on the shelf without a ring. So if that seal becomes compromised at any point in time, I know it and it won't reseal. If you have a ring on there, sometimes the seal can pop and come off, but then it can also reseal. And that would be disastrous, right? Because while your seal is open, bacteria can be getting in there and causing all kinds of illness. So just be really safe when it comes to canning, even if it's freeze-dried food. You want to be safe and have good canning practices at all times, okay? So the next thing you're going to need is gloves. So I use just disposable gloves. Everything, you don't want to touch freeze-dried food with your hands because your hand has moisture in it. You don't want to transfer that moisture onto the food that's completely dry. That just, causes the food to rehydrate. And whenever you have food that's rehydrating, that can, also, especially if you don't use it, it's like leaving a mushroom, in this case, on the counter, right? So you touch it, you've added water to it, even if you didn't mean to, because your hand is a little moist, right? Now all of a sudden that mushroom's going to want to try to hydrate itself, and then it becomes ready to go, and it doesn't have its fresh quality anymore, and sometimes it can be compromised. So just handle it safely. That's just the lesson that I have for you in that. Our goal is to preserve, the freeze-dried food so we don't waste money, right? So that's what we need to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glove on. Now, whenever you're storing your jars, okay, I always store my jars without lids on them. However, I have family members that store them with the lids on them. Okay, so if they store them with the lids on them, sometimes, I'm going to show you here if I can find it. It may be dry already. Yeah, it's actually kind of dry already because we live in Arizona and it's so hot here. But when you store it with the lid on, let's say after you got it out of your dishwasher, then there's going to be moisture inside of the jar. Okay, so again, moisture in freeze-dried or dehydrated food does not go well. It really does destroy the food. So you want to make sure that your jars are completely dry. You want to make sure your lids are dry. And you want to make sure your hands are dry. Everything's dry when we're storing these freeze-dried and dehydrated foods. You don't want to introduce any moisture to them, or they will again start to rehydrate. And they won't last as long. They might get contaminated, all those things. So got my gloves on. Process is really easy. I'll turn the camera over so you can see. All right, let's go ahead and move the camera a little bit so you can see my workstation here. All right, so here's my jar, and then this is called a funnel. You don't need a funnel, especially if you have gloves on. You can just transfer it with your hands with the gloves, but I find the funnels to be nice and easy to use. Then I'm going to just take my number 10 can of mushrooms and I'm just going to put them in the jar. Now, I actually do fill my jar up. The instructions on the vacuum sealer tell you to leave it below the rim, which I guess if I shook it up, it's probably below the rim anyways, but I don't mind adding a few extra to the top, but not that much. So really, there we go. So you can see I'm just slightly above the line on my mushrooms, but not completely to the top. Okay? Then I'm going to get my dry lid. So make sure your lid is completely dry. I'm going to place it on top of my container. So again, if you need to wipe your rim to make sure it's completely dry, then go ahead and do that. So I have a clean jar, no moisture in the jar. I've got a dry, clean lid. I'm going to place it on top. I'm going to take my vacuum sealer. I'm going to push it straight down, all the way down as far as it'll go, and I'm going to press on. Okay? And I'm going to wait until it hits 40 seconds. So as it's going, I'm going to let it go so you can actually hear me as we're talking as it's going, because I want you to see that this does not have an auto off feature. So you're going to let this jar go for 40 seconds. How do I know what's 40 seconds? Well, you can see there's a little timer on here, and it's just going to go to the full 40 seconds and beyond that. So you could literally let it go, until it runs out of battery. But the instructions say let it go for a little bit over 40 seconds. So that's 40 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and hit off. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be very careful about lifting up my vacuum sealer. Sometimes I have to take my gloves off. Okay. So I'm just going to slowly bring it up and try not to compromise that lid. If you break the seal on the lid, then go ahead and run the machine again. But you can see, like, it's completely sealed. Like this is not coming off. It's completely sealed. So, and then the quality of the ingredients, because they're already freeze dried and they've already been vacuum sealed before, they're not going to shrink up anymore. They're going to maintain its integrity here. So it's totally dry, and I have like a whole can of mushrooms ready to go. So that is how you do it. And then you put it on the shelf. So you can label this if you want to. You can label the date with the mushroom. You can say mushrooms, freeze-dried mushrooms with a date. because I use these so much. I would probably use this, I'll probably use this within a month, honestly, because we use them all the time. And this is plenty of mushrooms for spaghetti or for whatever family meal we're going to make. But yeah, this is how you do it. So again, the key with freeze-dried foods is to make sure that there's no water or any moisture inside of it, because that will compromise the food. And you want to make sure that everything that you're using is dry. You want to make sure that your seals are tight and on there. And you'll see if you can push this in or move it around at all, it's not sealed. If you push it in and it makes a kind of clicking or popping sound, I'd redo it. I'd want to make sure this is completely sealed, so that you maintain the integrity of the food and it lasts a long time, which is the whole point, right? So I hope this was helpful to you. If you enjoy videos like this or you want to learn anything more about canning, let me know in the comments below. I'd happy to share what I know about it. And if you have any suggestions or comments or tips, I would love to hear them. Share them with me. Let me know what your favorite thing is to can or preserve. I would love to know the things that you like to do. So let me know in the comments, number one, if you've ever sealed anything like this before, if you've used a vacuum sealer like that before. Number two, you have no idea how to do it, and this video was helpful for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you have a very blessed day. Just remember that you are loved, and just take your beautiful life one blessed step at a time. Have a good day. Goodbye.